is Martina. For as long as I can remember, nature has been my place of solace and serenity. Join me as I walk in the Maine outdoors and share the details I notice. There is a tremendous beauty, peace, and perfection in the natural world when we stop and pay attention.
It's a gorgeous, warm day in February, and I'm trying something new today. I'm going to make a podcast episode with a video. And it's really warm, so I'm really excited to be out here today. It's close to 38 degrees, a little bit of a breeze. We have a lot of snow, but I can walk on top of it, I think, because it was cold last night, formed a crust. It's about 1.5 feet of snow. And hopefully I'll walk on top. I can hear the crunching. This is a trail behind my house that my son and I made. And in this way is, you can sort of see my garage right there. And I'm just going to walk towards the camp spot that we go camping. And what I really enjoy to look at is the shadows on the snow. I just love the patterns all the trees make and the colors. I can hear the wind blowing the trees and the crackling. You can see up there. Some of the movement in the trees. These are mostly red maples, and in a couple weeks I'm going to tap some of these for maple syrup. And there are a bunch of balsam firs in here. This is sort of an open section. We're going to walk into some thicker woods. Some branches have fallen down from one of the storms right on the trail here. I can barely see the trail because of all the snow that we've had. Oh, that sun just feels so good. We've had some cold weather, so this is quite a welcoming experience just to feel that sun on my skin. The sky is blue, not a cloud in the sky. And that color is just incredible. And to see it through the trees. One of the things I like to notice outside is the stillness and the silence. You know, I notice some of the noises, but in between you can notice the silence. I do hear the birds today. They're pretty active. Let's continue on the trail a little bit. Here's a spruce. And look at this maple, this young red maple. Its bark looks like a work of art on its own, kind of like camouflage. You can see there's some lichen and even some moss growing on it. It's incredible. And we'll find an older red maple to get an idea of what it looks like as they age. Here's a big balsam fir. And it also has some design on its bark. You can see some of the sap coming out of the sap bubbles. Here's an older red maple right here. You can see how quite a difference as they age. They start to have more of that striped, thick bark. Here's one that's interesting. This is kind of in between. You could see that flat smooth camouflage layer and then some of that thicker bark layer starting too. That one's got kind of half-half. Never noticed that before. Not sure if the speaker can pick up that bird. I think it might be a titmouse making like a whistling noise. I heard it last week. I'm using a microphone. It doesn't pick up as much background noise, but it does sound a lot better with the audio. And just look at that blue on that shadow. I'm in love with that. We're coming up to a couple of big oaks that I like to sit near. Look at that ice just melted in between that oak. It's a big tree. You go up and look at the top of it. And sometimes I like to look at the difference between the red maple and the oak. When I tap the trees, sometimes it's hard to notice, but they do look distinctly different from above. The branches of the oak kind of split up more, and the maple tend to be more even, I guess. It's hard to explain the difference between the two. We'll find a maple and look. Here's one over here. One of my favorite things is to notice the sunlight coming in through the forest and how it lights up the needles of the balsam fir. And here's an example. Just look at that. Looks like it's plugged in to electricity. See how all those needles are lit up? And there's some oak leaves that are connected right there. See how they're hanging? Kind of like little ornaments. Oh. It's amazing they're still there with all that wind we've got. So here's a maple, red maple, and we'll look up at the top and just notice the difference of the design of the branches. See how they're more straight and elongated. The oak tend to be more rounded, maybe. More like an umbrella. This one's more like a long spray. I gotta come up with words to describe the difference between those two. Let's see, I'm not sure if we're gonna make it to the campsite. Oh, here's the little ornament that I saw during the snowstorm podcast I made a couple of weeks ago. It's still there. It's a little ball of moss hanging, lichen hanging from this balsam fir. It's really neat. I think I'm going to turn around and go back to my chair that I have set up and spend some time just sitting. But it's so hard because I do notice some interesting things. Look at this orange mushroom on this tree. This is a balsam fir. There's a lot of dead balsam firs in the woods. You can see the top of that. But they stand up for quite a long time, even though they've died. And all kinds of things grow on them. And I bet you oh yeah, it's very slimy, very soft, very interesting. Looks like a little brain. I really like how I can walk on top of the snow. Probably by the end of the day, it's going to get warmer and I'll sink. Look at all these mushrooms on this dead tree here. It's covered in them. Absolutely covered. It's hard to see that with the light. One of my favorite things is to just sit and be still and invite the stillness through just that, not moving. So I have a chair set up over here. And we'll just spend some time being present. There's the red maple in the distance. See that? Looks like a paintbrush. That's kind of a good analogy of it. The oak. I'm not sure if I can find an oak from the distance. They're more umbrella shaped. Whew. Every so often I sink and my foot falls up to my shin in snow. Oh, I just love these little baby balsam firs popping up in the snow. They're adorable. And you can see my chair up ahead. Perhaps it's next to a large, I guess we got to look at its branches. That looks like a red maple. Looks like kind of like a splayed out paintbrush to me. The snow is very crusty. We've had some rain yesterday, and so it's very bumpy. It looks like little raindrops have made little pockets all over the surface of the snow. But I can sort of make out some sparkling of the flakes a little bit. Here we go. Here's my chair. And I really enjoy just sitting in the sun. There's a big dead branch fallen down right next to me. You can see that lichen hanging from it. And I'm noticing some of the sounds. The cars driving by on the road. Some of the birds. Squeaking of the tree trunks in the wind. There's another balsam fir lit up in the sun. That blue sky. There's some white clouds. I honestly could just look at that blue sky and just feel its presence all around. Something about the trees in front of the blue sky without their leaves in the winter. So incredible. I'm noticing the breeze blowing some of the branches very gently. And I just feel that sun on my skin. And that nice cool air that I breathe in. I just feel very grateful to have this opportunity to be present to all these little details that I notice.
Thank you for joining me on my adventure today. I'm looking forward to seeing you again in the beauty of nature.